Hi, my name is Kate McMahon, and thank you so much for joining us today for What's Happening. Really excited to introduce our guest today. This is Matt Scinto. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hi, I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. Matt is the music director at Cape Cod Chamber Orchestra, a relatively new organization here on the Cape. 2018
was our first concert.
Yeah. So share a little bit about what the Chamber Orchestra is.
So I moved down here to Cape Cod in fall of 2017. My wife and I went to Boston University, graduated with my doctoral degree, and didn't really know what I was going to do. So we moved out here, and I started to figure out that there really wasn't much of a professional classical music scene. And I wanted to do something with all of my colleagues and friends that I met in Boston, all of these amazing instrumentalists that I met during my 4 years in school there. So I set off on this venture to start an orchestra of my own.
Wow,
and
what an undertaking.
It is a lot, I will say, but it's been extremely rewarding because what we've been able to do is create a group that is very collaborative in nature. We do a lot of our concert programs with other organizations and individuals and do different charitable events for different nonprofits and folks out here in Cape Cod. We just finished our first season last year, and we're getting ready for our second season this year. I feel very strongly about contemporary music, which means music that's being written today. And in our case, with our next program, being written now. It offers folks on Cape Cod a voice of a composer that's writing music here and now in 2019. Oftentimes you go to an orchestra concert and you're hearing music that's hundreds of years old. And what people, I don't think, always realize is it was written most of the time by a composer that was living in a certain socio-economic world, a different political world than we're in now. And art is always inspired by what current events are going on. So to be able to bring a piece of music that is written in this year brings a different voice that I don't think a lot of audiences typically get. So I like to pair these new pieces with older ones in a way to just kind of broaden people's musical horizons. And we had a really fantastic year last year, worked with the Guild of Harwich Artists in the program, did a concert with the Edward Gorey House. Poet Judy Askew was our debut concert. We did a whole poetry-themed concert. So these are the types of events we're in. I don't like to just live in a classical music bubble.
Right.
I like to broaden and work across disciplines, and it's been, I think, a successful formula for people. People have really been enjoying our concerts, so.
That's great.
It's been a good ride so far.
And you've been able to take advantage of such talent and interesting corners of the Cape so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which brings us to the event that we're here to talk about today, which is Haydn the Pirate, which is going to be at the Whydah Museum in Yarmouth.
It's at Pilgrim.
Oh, pardon me.
No, it's at Pilgrim Church in Harwichport. But we are collaborating with the Whydah Museum to put on this program. Haydn was not a pirate himself, but I really like this. I like this title very much.
Yeah, I had to double check.
But what we've done, like most of our programs, is work with this organization to put a program together that's really about the life of Sam Bellamy and about this amazing project that has been going on since about 1984 that Barry Clifford started.
Yes.
Right off the coast of Wellfleet.
It's amazing, isn't it?
In 1717, this Whydah ship crashed, and I think 145 pirates, Sam Bellamy being the captain of this boat, all died.
Yeah, perished.
It's an incredible story, and it's actually the only really confirmed pirate ship wreckage that we have right on Cape Cod. In the Whydah Museum in Yarmouth, I invite all of you to go because it's fascinating. All of the artifacts that were still being recovered.
Yeah, it's amazing.
On this since the shipwreck. So what we're doing is at 2:15, you could come before the concert, and it'll be myself, our composer of this Sam Bellamy premiere piece. Sam Wu will be there, and Christopher McCord, who is an archaeologist and diver for the Whydah Museum and has been a part of this project now for the past 20 years. He's going to share his insight and stories and what it means to be recovering artifacts from this shipwreck that's over, I guess in 2019 will be 300 years old. This happened. So again, we are tying in classical music to a discipline that I wouldn't think would be able to be connected necessarily
and
to
it
music.
just shows the uniqueness, not only of what you do, but taking advantage of how unique Cape Cod is.
Yeah, there's so many fascinating things going on here that I see our organization just continuing to be able to collaborate with across all different fields, not just in art per se, but in this case, this historical wreckage that's off the coast of Wellfleet. So
it's great.
Yeah, it's interesting for us to put a program like this.
So you did mention that the pre-concert talk is at 2:15, and it will be held Sunday, October 20th at 3 p.m. Now, you mentioned that you have Sam Wu, who is a composer.
Yes, part of our mission at the Chamber Orchestra is to highlight young composers. Composers that I feel have a lot of promise in this field, but don't always have opportunities to have their pieces performed. I mean, this is the thing. It's if you're a composer working in classical music, it's such a niche field to be composing concert music, as you can imagine. And there are so many great young people doing it out there, and this is an opportunity that we provide throughout the year for a composer to come work with the orchestra, work with myself, work with work with different organizations, in this case the Whydah Museum, and to create this, in our case, Sam's piece, a look into the life of Sam Bellamy, who in a very short year pretty much amassed the most money a pirate's ever amassed. I looked recently, I think in today's dollar, it was like $121 million.
Wow, isn't that something?
That he was able to capture over the course of just 1 year, and then ends up dying in this crazy nor'easter storm off the coast of Wellfleet. And there's also this love interest involved in his story, which I find very interesting. So it could be an opera, or some type of soap opera. This guy's story. So it was so fitting when I researched and was learning more about him. And Sam was our composer, also very interested in being able to retell his story through music, through a piece for a 30-member orchestra.
Sounds like a great fit then for Sam to be involved with
yes,
you.
he has the right name too, I guess.
So you just mentioned there are 30 people in the orchestra?
Yeah,
right?
it's
musicians?
So it's this name Chamber Orchestra we were discussing before.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Usually a symphony orchestra, when you go see the Cape Symphony, they might have 60, 70, 80 musicians on stage. I purposely wanted to create a group that was a little more intimate in nature, that our audience members could be close up to the action, if it were, and to see how musicians communicate with each other, how I communicate with the group. When you go see a string quartet play, if you notice that there's never a conductor, in that type of setting.
Sure.
And that's what I try to recreate with the musicians. It has this feel that there's this bond, I guess, between the way that people make music together. It's a really special thing. And I think oftentimes when you're sitting very far away from the stage, you really miss out on that. And by having a smaller, more intimate group, it gives audience members a chance to really see all of the communication that goes on in an orchestra, because it just wouldn't really work if people weren't, looking at each other and breathing together and all of these things.
Yeah, very special then.
Yeah, it's
very
a unique
special
thing out here on the Cape for sure.
Yeah. So, how did you decide that this was a story that you wanted the orchestra to tell?
I think it goes back to just my interest in getting different people into a concert hall. It's a question that a lot of musicians my age have to come to terms with, because more and more it's a very difficult career to kind of make a living in now, and audiences are continuing to get older, And I think music appreciation in schools is also declining. So there's lots of negative things surrounding our field that we're in. And stories like Sam Bellamy, I feel like it's something that's identifiable for people that maybe don't know too much about an orchestra, don't know what an oboe is, don't know what a trumpet is, I'm not sure what a viola is or a cello. It's a bridge into this oftentimes very intimidating.
That was the word
I don't want to say off-putting, but I think the experience traditionally of going to a concert is something that people don't want to do because they don't think they would really understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So I like to use these elements, and the story of Sam Bellamy is someone that maybe has been in the Whydah Museum or knows about this famous pirate, says, I want to check this concert out. And then I promise, once you are in, and once you hear our musicians and are moved by the sounds that are really enveloping the whole room, I know you'll be hooked. I'm not crazy. All of the hundreds and thousands of musicians that continually enter this field every year, well, you would say, why do they do this? Because it really can be life-changing.
And that's one of the things that's so important about the pre-concert talk, too. You talked about folks being intimidated. Well, that's a really nice way for them to get more comfortable before the music actually starts.
Right, and have opportunity to ask questions. I mean, really, anyone and anything is welcome. I love talking to our audience members. It's a really important part of my job as a conductor. Just to be able to engage with people on a personal level. Right. I think oftentimes you see the conductor, he kind of, turns around, takes a bow, goes off stage, and you see him in 3 weeks, or whenever the group is back in town. I can't really operate like that. I think it's, it's a unique part of our organization. I like to keep it on a personal level, and the musicians are like me too. They want to engage with our audience members and talk to them, and how do you like the performance and whatnot.
Right.
So it's important for us to be doing that. So
that's wonderful. So again, the event is October 20th, and pre-concert talk is at 2:15?
2:15, yep.
So tell us how we can purchase tickets.
You can go to CapeCodChamberOrchestra.org. You can buy tickets there, and by the way, children and students are completely free.
Love that.
It's important to me that families can come to a concert and not spend $150 on tickets. Again, I'm trying to lessen the burden of what going to an orchestra concert typically costs. I mean, it can be very, very expensive. So again, you don't have to purchase a ticket for your kids. Just show up with them. And,
thank you for doing that.
Absolutely,
That's great. And then you have a website, CapeCodChamberOrchestra.org, and I'm sure our viewers can go there to learn more.
Yeah, learn more about the orchestra. We have we do more than just this concert. We have 5 other concerts planned for this season.
Great.
One in December after this. We're doing a benefit concert for the Alzheimer's Family Support Center. That's something that we'll continue to do every year, is this kind of charitable event for another organization. And that's one of the organizations we're supporting this year. And learn about myself, all of our musicians, our upcoming events, and by all means, if you want to make a donation, you can certainly
volunteer.
You can volunteer. There's many opportunities and jobs I can give anyone. I'm good at that. So so check us out. We also are on Facebook too, Cape Cod Chamber Orchestra, and you can follow us on Instagram too. Same name. So
thank you.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you'd like to add?
Please come to our concert. We will actually have pirates at this yes. We couldn't do a pirate-themed concert without some actual pirates.
And with Halloween coming up,
yes, it's very fitting. So maybe Captain Jack Sparrow will actually be there. You can meet and take some pictures with him. So
fun.
It'll be a fun event for anyone at any age. So
awesome. Well, thank you again for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Kate.
Bye now. And thanks for joining us for What's Happening. Until next time, I'm Kate McMahon.